They were Hollywood's golden couple, Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet, the picture of effortless love, blended families, and deep spiritual connection. But then, it all unraveled. The split shocked fans, leaving behind whispers, speculation, and unanswered questions. Now, Momoa is finally breaking his silence, pulling back the curtain on the emotional battles, identity struggles, and the real reasons behind their separation. What went wrong? What does this mean for his future and for Lisa Bonet? The revelations might surprise you. Let's dive in. Jason Momoa's unexpected journey. Jason Momoa, the towering Hollywood force, the warrior spirit, the rebel with a heart. But before he became Aquaman, before the fame and the headlines, his life was a collision of cultures, contrasts, and a search for identity that shaped everything he is today. Born Joseph Jason Namakaeha Momoa on August 1, 1979, in Honolulu, Hawaii, he carried the weight of a rich, tangled heritage, his father's native Hawaiian roots clashing and blending with his mother's German, Irish, and Pawnee ancestry. But when his parents split, the tropical warmth of Hawaii was replaced with the vast, quiet fields of Norwalk, Iowa, a town where he was unmistakably different. Sun-kissed skin, a name that felt foreign to his classmates, and a deep connection to traditions few around him understood. He was an outsider, a lone warrior in the Midwest, forced to carve out his own identity in a place where he never quite fit. But Hawaii never let go. Summers spent with his father became more than just visits. They were pilgrimages, reunions with the land, the ocean, the ancestors who whispered through the waves. That spiritual grounding would become his anchor, carrying him through the chaos of Hollywood and the storms of personal life. The wild independence of Iowa and the soul-deep connection to Hawaii forged a man who was both introspective and untamed, a force of nature wrapped in quiet depth. And then there was Lisa Bonet. When they met, it was as if two parallel journeys had finally intersected, two souls shaped by dual identities, both searching for a place to belong. She saw beyond his towering frame, beyond the warrior exterior. She saw the artist, the storyteller, the man who had spent a lifetime walking between worlds. But what happens when two kindred spirits realize that love, no matter how deep, may not be enough? Sit back, relax, and enjoy this video with us. Grab your favorite drink and settle in. Jason Momoa's Hollywood fight. Jason Momoa didn't stroll into Hollywood. He crashed through its doors, carving his own path in an industry that wasn't quite sure what to do with him. His first big break? Baywatch Hawaii, a role that, while unexpected, put him on the map. But Hollywood has a way of typecasting, and for years Momoa found himself grinding through roles in North Shore and Stargate Atlantis, proving he was more than just a striking presence. Then came the moment that changed everything, his unforgettable Game of Thrones audition. Instead of a standard read-through, Momoa unleashed the Mari Haka, a traditional Maori war dance so intense, so electric, that it left casting directors speechless. That raw power landed him the role of Khal Drogo, cementing his image as an unstoppable warrior. But with success came a new struggle, being boxed into the same fierce, silent roles, a Hollywood stereotype that ignored the depth beneath the muscles. Yet, if there's one thing about Jason Momoa, it's that he doesn't let anyone define him. Not Hollywood, not expectations, not even his own past. His journey was just beginning. Lisa Bonet, the rebel who stole Jason Momoa's heart. For Jason Momoa, Lisa Bonet wasn't just a Hollywood actress. She was the Hollywood actress. His childhood crush, his dream girl, the effortlessly cool and untouchable Denise Huxtable from The Cosby Show. At just 8 years old, he never could have imagined that one day she'd be the love of his life. Much like Momoa, Lisa Bonet was never one to fit into a mold. Born Lisa Michelle Bonet on November 16, 1967 in San Francisco, she carried a heritage as complex as she was, African-American on her father's side, Jewish-American on her mother's. Raised primarily by her mother in Rodeo, California, she grew up balancing two cultural identities, a duality that shaped her deeply introspective nature. That commitment to authenticity made her different in Hollywood, fearless, unpredictable, and unwilling to be anything other than herself. At just 16, she became a household name as Denise Huxtable, the bohemian, free-spirited daughter who was just as effortlessly rebellious as Lisa herself. But she wanted more than sitcom fame. In 1987, she shattered expectations with Angel Heart, a provocative thriller that sent shockwaves through Hollywood. While the film was controversial, it proved what Lisa had always known. She was here to push boundaries, not follow them. Around the same time, she met musician Lenny Kravitz, a fellow artistic soul who understood what it meant to exist between two worlds. Their connection was instant. They married on her 20th birthday, welcomed their daughter Zoe Kravitz in 1988, and built a family that defied the usual Hollywood script. Though their marriage ended in 1993, Lisa and Lenny never let labels define them. They redefined what it meant to co-parent in Hollywood, blending their lives with love, mutual respect, and an unbreakable bond. And when Jason Momoa eventually entered the picture, the dynamic only grew stronger, so much so that Jason and Lenny developed a rare and unexpected friendship of their own. If there was one thing Lisa Bonet had mastered, it was the art of creating harmony in a world that often demanded division. Lisa's impact on Jason. While Hollywood chased her, Lisa Bonet walked away. After The Cosby Show, she wasn't interested in the usual starlet trajectory. No endless red carpets, no hunger for constant exposure. Instead, she moved with quiet intentionality, choosing roles sparingly, prioritizing privacy, spiritual growth, and, above all, motherhood. For Lisa, success wasn't about box office numbers or media attention. It was about cultivating peace, authenticity, and meaningful connections. That philosophy would profoundly shape Jason Momoa. By the time they met in 2005, he was still a rising actor, hustling to carve out his place in an industry that often valued image over substance. Lisa, on the other hand, had nothing to prove. She represented everything he admired: strength, individuality, a deep connection to her roots. And for Lisa, Jason's humility, boundless enthusiasm, and pure heart were a breath of fresh air in a world that often felt superficial. What Lisa didn't know? The tall, athletic young man shyly standing before her had been in love with her since he was 8 years old. For Jason, meeting Lisa wasn't just fate. It was a childhood dream coming to life. And soon, their worlds would intertwine in a way that neither Hollywood nor their fans could look away from. Love at First Guinness. It was 2005, inside a dimly lit Los Angeles jazz club, where the air was thick with smoky ambiance and late-night chatter. Lisa Bonet and Jason Momoa crossed paths through mutual friends, a moment that would change both their lives. Some say Lisa arrived draped in her signature bohemian ensemble. Others recall Jason's newly dreaded hair, a style he had partially adopted because he had always admired Lisa's own locks from years ago. For Jason, everything about her was mesmerizing. In interviews, he later recounted how, at just 8 years old, he had watched Lisa as Denise Huxtable on The Cosby Show and declared, "Mommy, I want that one." Now, nearly 2 decades later, he found himself face-to-face with his lifelong crush. He struggled to keep his composure, but inside he was bursting with excitement, what he described as fireworks going off in his heart. As they introduced themselves, the night unfolded effortlessly. Their conversation flowed so naturally that Lisa, sensing an instant connection, offered to drive Jason home. But the night wasn't over yet. Along the way, they stopped at Hollywood's now-closed 101 coffee shop, where Lisa ordered a Guinness and grits, an unexpected choice that left Jason completely smitten. This woman, older than him by 12 years, exuded a laid-back confidence that was unlike anything he had encountered in Hollywood. They laughed, talked, and discovered something deeper than mere attraction, something that felt like fate. From lovers to family, in the weeks and months that followed, Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet were almost inseparable. Jason was still navigating sporadic acting gigs and the uncertainty of his Hollywood career. But one thing was solid: his devotion to Lisa. She gave him a sense of stability and comfort he had never known. In return, Lisa found in Jason a partner with an adventurous spirit, an open heart, and a profound respect for nature and family. Their backgrounds intertwined seamlessly. Both carried the weight of mixed race identities and had carved out creative paths on their own terms. To outsiders, their spark might have seemed instant, but beneath it was a deep foundation of shared values. Lisa, having already experienced the highs and lows of fame through her marriage to Lenny Kravitz and her time on The Cosby Show, wasn't chasing the spotlight. Jason, with his Hawaiian roots and Midwestern upbringing, was also drawn to a life centered on family rather than Hollywood glitz. Their commitment deepened quickly. In July 2007, they welcomed their first child, Lola Iolani Momoa, a name inspired by the hawks that flew overhead during her birth, reflecting their spiritual connection to nature. A year later, in December 2008, their son, Nakoa Wolf Manakawapo Namakaiha Momoa, was born on a stormy night. His name a tribute to both the powerful elements of his birth and his rich cultural heritage. With their growing family, Jason's protective instincts intensified, while Lisa cherished every moment, seamlessly weaving their children into life with her daughter, Zoe Kravitz. Their household became a vibrant blend of traditions, filled with music, laughter, artistic expression, and spiritual grounding. And through it all, Lenny Kravitz remained a close part of their world, forging an unexpected bond with Jason that transcended labels. Lenny would later describe Jason as a brother, proof that love in this family wasn't bound by conventional definitions. For Jason, the boy from Iowa who once felt like an outsider, this was more than love. It was belonging. And as his career took flight, he wasn't just becoming a Hollywood star. He was becoming the man, the father, and the protector he was always meant to be. Jason's Hollywood break. While Lisa Bonet had already built her legacy in television and film, Jason Momoa was still fighting for his place in Hollywood. His defining moment came when he roared onto screens as Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones. With his towering frame, intense physicality, and raw energy, he became an instant fan favorite. But behind the scenes, a different kind of battle was unfolding. One of typecasting, industry misconceptions, and a fight to prove he was more than just a brute force. Despite his breakout performance, Hollywood struggled to see beyond his warrior image. Casting agents fixated on his muscles, his long hair, and the distinctive eyebrow scar, a brutal souvenir from a 2008 bar fight. Some directors even assumed he barely spoke English, believing the silent, savage persona of Khal Drogo was all he had to offer. Ironically, the role that made him famous also made him unemployable. Offers dried up. He was pigeonholed as the barbarian, the enforcer, the muscle, never the lead, never the hero. But then came Zack Snyder. The visionary director saw what others had overlooked: depth, charisma, and an untapped authenticity perfect for a reimagined Aquaman. Instead of the traditional blonde-haired, clean-cut superhero, Snyder envisioned Arthur Curry as a Polynesian warrior, a protector of the ocean who carried the soul of his ancestors. For Jason, it was more than just a career move. It was a cultural victory. His native Hawaiian heritage, his deep-rooted love for the ocean, and his own personal journey of being an outsider suddenly became his greatest strengths. Then, in 2018, everything changed. Aquaman became a box office phenomenon, smashing through the $1 billion mark worldwide. Fans embraced Jason's rugged yet soulful take on the character, a modern superhero who was more than just a fighter. He was a leader, a family man, a man of legacy. This role redefined his career and finally placed him in Hollywood's A-list. But with massive success came massive obligations. Major blockbusters meant relentless shooting schedules, months of grueling training, and long stretches away from home. Australia, Canada, and far-flung locations became his temporary homes, sometimes for half a year at a time. For Jason, who had built his life around love, family, and connection, this new reality posed an unexpected challenge. The man who had spent years dreaming of this success was now grappling with what it would cost him. If you liked this video, drop a 1 in the comments, and if not, let us know with a 0. Your feedback matters. The price of fame. Despite the meteoric rise of his career, Jason Momoa struggled with the one thing success couldn't give him: time with his family. Having grown up with divorced parents, he was painfully aware of how instability could shape a child's life. More than anything, he prided himself on being a present father. But Hollywood had other plans. Lisa Bonet, having navigated fame since her teenage years, knew the cost of the industry all too well. She had lived through the relentless schedules, the constant public scrutiny, and the demands that pulled artists away from their loved ones. Now she craved something different, a home that was calm, grounded, and consistent for their children. She wasn't interested in chasing the next big thing. She wanted presence, not prestige. Tensions naturally arose as Jason's career skyrocketed. The more Hollywood demanded of him, the less he could be at home. Still, the couple made it work in those flourishing years. Lisa would visit Jason on set, sometimes surprising him with the kids, like on his 38th birthday, while he was filming Aquaman. They even collaborated in 2014 on Road to Paloma, a project Jason co-wrote, directed, and starred in, with Lisa playing a key supporting role. She encouraged his directorial ambitions, just as he admired her unwavering authenticity. Meanwhile, Jason's passions extended beyond acting. His influence as Aquaman turned into a real-world mission. He became a fierce advocate for ocean conservation, using his growing platform to push for environmental change. At the same time, his signature intensity came with a unique inspiration. He famously drew from heavy metal music to shape his characters, channeling raw, unfiltered energy into his performances. But for all their synergy, art, family, activism, something was shifting. Their paths, once intertwined, were slowly pulling in different directions. Jason was being called to blockbuster sets in faraway locations. Lisa was drawn deeper into the quiet, intentional life she had spent years building. The very things that made them fall in love. Their passion, their individuality, their unwavering sense of purpose, were now the forces making their worlds harder to reconcile. A love divided. Jason Momoa's life has always been a search for belonging. From childhood days split between Hawaii and Iowa to becoming the face of a billion-dollar Hollywood franchise, he has constantly navigated multiple worlds. Lisa Bonet, too, understood this struggle. Growing up with a Jewish mother and an African-American father, she often recalled feeling like an outsider, never fully embraced by either black or white classmates in high school. Their bond was built on this mutual understanding, a shared journey of searching for identity, acceptance, and a spiritual connection that ran deeper than the superficial. For years, their relationship was a sanctuary, a place where they could be fully themselves, away from the pressures of Hollywood. But over time, the delicate balance they had created began to strain. Lisa preferred a quiet, intentional life in Los Angeles, focusing on their children and nurturing her own creative pursuits under the radar. Jason, on the other hand, was riding the biggest wave of his career. From Justice League to Aquaman and beyond, the opportunities were too massive to ignore. With each new role, Jason found himself away for longer stretches, immersed in the relentless cycle of blockbuster filmmaking. The man who once prioritized home and family was now being pulled into a world that demanded more of him than ever before. And as the distance between them grew, not just physically but in lifestyle and priorities, their once unshakable bond faced its toughest test yet. Lisa Bonet had once lived the fast-paced, whirlwind life of a young actress, traveling the world and navigating the chaos that came with it. But those days were behind her. She had built something precious, a peaceful sanctuary in Los Angeles, a stable home where their children could grow up with consistency, deep friendships, and a sense of normalcy. For Lisa, uprooting that life for Hollywood's demands was never an option. Jason, however, was in the middle of the biggest career explosion of his life. From Aquaman to global press tours, he was away more than he was home, juggling back-to-back projects that kept him on location for months at a time. The physical distance soon turned into emotional distance. While they both agreed on the importance of family, the reality of their daily lives told a different story. Lisa took on most of the parenting responsibilities, leaning on her extended circle, including Lenny Kravitz and Zoe, for support, while Jason's world became increasingly consumed by the relentless momentum of Hollywood. Where they had once collaborated on passion projects like Road to Paloma, Lisa's own creative ambitions often took a back seat to Jason's skyrocketing career. The financial success of his blockbuster roles undeniably benefited the family, but at the cost of losing the simplicity they had once treasured. And though they remained fiercely committed to co-parenting, ensuring Lola, Nakoa Wolf, and Zoe thrived despite the distance, cracks in their foundation began to show. For years, love and devotion had kept them together, even as their worlds pulled in opposite directions. But tensions over where to live, how to raise their children, and what their future should look like continued to grow. Eventually, the weight of their separate lives became impossible to ignore. And then the announcement came, the one that left fans stunned. The end of an era. On January 12, 2022, Jason Momoa sent shockwaves through Hollywood with a now-deleted Instagram post announcing his separation from Lisa Bonet. A couple that had long symbolized unity, bohemian values, and blended family harmony was officially calling it quits. In their carefully worded statement, they framed the decision as a necessary shift in response to the transformational times the world was experiencing. Their love, they emphasized, would remain, just in a different form. For fans, the news was a stunning blow. Jason and Lisa had seemed unshakable, the rare Hollywood couple that defied the odds with their deep-rooted connection, shared values, and effortlessly blended family. But behind the scenes, the split had been a long time coming. Years of conflicting schedules, diverging priorities, and time spent apart had gradually created an unbridgeable gap between them. Jason's relentless filming schedule had kept him away for months at a time, while Lisa had built a life firmly rooted in Los Angeles. What had once made them inseparable, their shared sense of independence and artistic passion, had now become the very thing pulling them in opposite directions. Despite the end of their marriage, Jason and Lisa remained committed to handling the transition with dignity. They underscored their devotion to their children, prioritizing their well-being above all else. Those close to them knew that, while their love story was ending in one sense, their bond as co-parents and friends would endure. Then, in January 2024, the final chapter was written. Their divorce was officially granted, marking the legal end of their marriage. The love story that had once captivated Hollywood had now quietly closed. Yet in many ways, their impact on each other's lives, on family, on identity, on the pursuit of authenticity, would never truly fade. Even after their public split, Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet's bond remained undeniable. But the world wasn't ready to let go of their love story just yet. Almost immediately, speculation erupted. Was this just a break? Were they secretly reconciling? Sightings of Jason supporting Zoe Kravitz at events, or even something as simple as delivering a Christmas tree to Lisa's home, sent the rumor mill into overdrive. Jason eventually set the record straight. We're not back together. We're family. A subtle yet definitive statement. While they were no longer husband and wife, their connection as co-parents remained deeply intact. Yet, as Jason navigated this new chapter, Lisa found herself at the center of a different kind of scrutiny. Tabloids painted a picture of a woman disillusioned with Jason's rising Hollywood career, someone who had stepped out of the spotlight and now risked fading into obscurity. At industry parties and behind closed doors, whispers circulated, "It's over for her." But those who truly knew Lisa saw a different reality. Fame had never dictated her choices. She had always valued authenticity over attention, depth over stardom. In her world, this wasn't an ending. It was an intentional shift, a new phase she had deliberately chosen. For Jason, however, the legal finality of their divorce in 2024 hit differently. The foundation he had poured so much of himself into, his dream of a long-lasting, unbreakable partnership, was now gone. The weight of that reality lingered, forcing him to confront the space between the love story he had envisioned and the complex life he was actually living. Still, through the heartbreak, their mutual respect never wavered. They spent parts of the holidays together for the sake of their children. Jason remained present in Lisa's life, not as a partner, but as a steady presence, a father, a friend, a helping hand. Whether it was fixing things around her home or planning surprises for the kids, his role in their world didn't disappear. Instead, it evolved. What they had built wasn't over. It had simply transformed into something new, something not everyone could understand, but something they and their family would always hold on to. Thanks for sticking around. If you're still watching, drop a 2 in the comments so we know you're with us. Jason breaks his silence. Despite their separation, Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet remained bound by something deeper than marriage, a connection that transcended traditional labels. But to the outside world, their unity only fueled confusion. How could two people who so clearly loved each other decide to walk away? The question lingered, dissected in viral headlines, speculative articles, and endless social media debates. Yet the real answer belonged to Jason and Lisa alone, shaped by private complexities the public would never fully understand. Still, fans yearned for insight, for a moment of raw honesty where Jason would finally open up, pulling back the curtain on his heartbreak and the road ahead. But for months, he remained silent. Social media watchers analyzed every interview, every red carpet appearance, trying to decipher his emotions in subtle glances and passing remarks. Some assumed he was avoiding the topic. Others speculated he was still processing the loss. In reality, Jason was pouring himself into work. He tackled new film projects with relentless energy, embracing roles that challenged him, including his explosive turn as the eccentric yet menacing Dante Reyes in Fast X. His environmental activism continued to grow, and he seemed to channel his personal struggles into a renewed sense of purpose. Outwardly, he was thriving. But beneath the surface, the weight of the split lingered. Then, after months of speculation, the moment arrived, the emotional interview fans had been waiting for. Jason finally broke his silence. When asked about the separation, Jason Momoa paused. His usual confidence gave way to something softer, more vulnerable. Then, with quiet sincerity, he finally spoke. It wasn't easy. His voice was steady but laced with emotion. We tried. We really did. There was so much love between us, and still is. But sometimes, life takes you in different directions. It wasn't something we rushed into, but it was something we both knew had to happen. It was the moment fans had been waiting for, an unguarded glimpse into the heartbreak that had been playing out behind closed doors. Jason spoke openly about the struggles of raising their children in the public eye and the immense respect he still held for Lisa. Their life together, he emphasized, was built on love, mutual admiration, and a deep sense of purpose that would never fade. They had grown together, learned from each other, and built a family dynamic that would continue even as their marriage ended. In this deeply personal interview, Jason also reflected on how fatherhood and his Hawaiian heritage continued to shape him. He spoke about the values that had been instilled in him: stewardship of family, respect for tradition, and an abiding love for the environment. These principles, he said, would guide him not only in co-parenting, but in the next phase of his journey. He expressed profound gratitude for Lisa's influence on his life, acknowledging that she had helped shape him into the man he had become. Though the separation was painful, Jason saw it as an opportunity for reflection, healing, and growth. His words weren't bitter, nor were they filled with regret. Instead, they were rooted in acceptance, a commitment to maintaining a healthy relationship with Lisa, one built on respect, understanding, and the shared responsibility of raising their children. In the end, this wasn't just a breakup, it was a transformation, and as Jason's emotional truth emerged, it became clear: some love stories don't end, they just evolve. What are your thoughts on their love story? Drop a comment below and let us know. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest updates.